Whether you call it a burger or a sandwich, did you know that you can lose weight eating this type of food? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. This is a double patty chicken burger. It's incredibly easy, it's packed with protein, and it's absolutely delicious. Let's jump straight in. Now what we're going to need is 1 kilo or 2.2 pounds of chicken mince. You can use store-bought, which is what I've used, or you can make it yourself. Just chuck the same amount of weight of chicken breasts in a blender, blitz it up, and you'll get the same exact thing. With our chicken mince in a bowl, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of both onion and garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of ground sage or ground fennel, season it up with some salt, and of course, some cracked black pepper, 15 cracks worth. Get in there with clean hands, mix all of this together, make sure nothing's clumped up and it's all completely spread throughout the chicken mince. And if you're going to be doing this in a blender with the chicken breasts, you can just chuck all of the spices in there as well and it's all gonna mix through together. Once you have this all seasoned, what we can then do is just weigh out about 100 gram patties. We're going to be making 10 of them because these are doubles. And I've also got a little bit of cling wrap or plastic wrap over the scales just so we don't contaminate everything. Once you have them weighed out, just gently roll them in your hands, chuck them into balls, just make sure nothing's loose, and then slightly pat them down. Just into nice little patties like this. It is important as well just to keep your hands wet or damp. That way nothing will stick to your hands and you end up with nice smooth patties. Otherwise they can be a bit rough, especially when you get to this stage. They'll just stick to your hand, but if they're a little bit wet, you shouldn't have any issues at all. Once you have all of those done, just spread them out on 2 lined baking trays and we're going to place these in the freezer for about 30 to 40 minutes just to firm up, because if we try and crumb these right now, it's going to completely fall apart and be extremely sticky. As for the remaining prep, we're going to need 250 grams of lettuce. Any lettuce of your choice is fine here. I'm using iceberg lettuce, just taking a little bit off the side to get the correct weight. Thinly slice this the whole way across. The correct culinary term for this is chiffonade, or cutting into thin ribbons. And I do recommend giving it a wash just because there is quite a few layers in here and you don't know if there's any dirt. For the sauce, we're going to need 3 cornichons or baby dill pickles. If you don't like these, you don't have to use them, don't worry about that. Then all we're doing with these is roughly chopping them. Just go through with your knife, make sure there's no large bits or large chunks. You should have something that looks like this. To make our sauce, add half a cup of mayonnaise into a mixing bowl, 2 teaspoons or 20 grams of American or yellow mustard or even Dijon mustard, the pickles that we chopped up before, just scrape all of them in there. Add 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, then season with salt, and of course, cracked black pepper, 10 cracks worth. Mix that all through, make sure everything's evenly combined. None of those spices have clumped up either. And you should have this nice pale yellow sauce, something that looks like this. And then we can place this in the fridge until we're ready to serve. What we can do now is just crack 3 eggs into a bowl. We're going to be using this for our egg wash, which is just going to help everything stick to our chicken burgers. Give this a quick whisk with a fork, just mixing through that yolk, making sure it's all evenly combined. When you're just about ready to cook, we're going to set up a breading station. On this tray, I have 120 grams of plain all-purpose flour. We're not going to use it all, so this whole amount won't be included in all of the macros, so don't worry about that. And then for the crumb, I found these cornflake crumbs, deliciously crispy and golden apparently. It is literally just blended up cornflakes, but I thought I'd give them a try. I was quite intrigued when I saw them. If you don't want to use these, you can use regular breadcrumbs or even panko breadcrumbs, or even if you have cornflakes lying around at your house, just chuck them in a blender and make them yourself. However, whichever crumb you decided to go with, you're going to need about 200 to 250 grams. And again, it's not all going to be used, so it won't all be included in the macros. With everything set up, we can then place our chicken patties into the flour and just mix it around. Just be gentle with them so they don't break, and then pat off any excess. Into the egg wash, same thing again. Mix it around, making sure there's no little nooks and crannies that are covered with that flour. Sometimes there can be little bald spots that you can't see. Just let a little bit of that excess drip off. Then straight into the crumb of your choice. Pat it down and make sure everything is evenly covered. Once you have all of that done, they're lined out on baking trays lined with parchment paper. I've sprayed a little bit of oil on the bottom of that parchment paper, but we are also just going to spray a little bit of oil over the top. If you have any loose crumb, just make sure you don't blow it off with the spray oil, but just enough to help them get going. These can then be taken over to our oven. Chuck them in at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to bake these for about 20 to 22 minutes, flipping them halfway through. You can also do it in an air fryer if you wanted to. All right, it's now been 20 minutes. They feel cooked through and nice and crispy. We can get these out of the oven. Then we've got 5 burger buns. You can toast them or untoast them. It's completely up to you. What we're going to do is just spread a little bit of that sauce over the top and the bottom. Then just go through and make sure you spread it out evenly, so you're getting a bit of sauce with every single bite. What we'll then do is go through, we're going to use double patties. You can even extend this even more, or half the amount of chicken if you just want a single patty. That choice is all yours. Another optional thing is some cheese. You really don't have to do this if you don't want to, but who doesn't love cheese? And then finally, we'll just go over with that lettuce, placing a nice little pile on top. When that's all done, we start placing on the top buns, and if I must say so myself, these look pretty delicious. So with all of that done, we're left with this beautiful looking double patty chicken burger. Of course, if you want to add cheese, you can, and that lettuce in there as well. When it comes to storing, there's a couple of different ways you can do it and a couple of different options. What you can do is just store these as they are, put them in Ziploc bags, meal prep containers, or even food paper and put them in the fridge for up to 3 days. Or what you can do is just make the patties ahead of time and then freeze them. Just put them in the freezer for about 3 months, wrap them in a nice airtight container so they don't get freezer burn. Then just pull them out, make sure they're thawed overnight in the fridge beforehand. Then just cook them either in a pan, microwave, or chuck them back in the air fryer and assemble these fresh. Of course, they are better warm, but they can also be eaten cold as well. The choice is all yours. With everything said and done, there is only one thing left to do, and that is, of course, we can then dig in. The thing I love most about this is you can't even tell that it's a healthier alternative to what a deep fried chicken burger would be. The flavor is incredible, the texture on the chicken is delicious as well, and the chicken's nice and juicy. The sauce goes really well, it complements that chicken, and then the lettuce just adds that little texture as well. Definitely do make this, it is absolutely delicious. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Don't forget to leave a comment for the algorithm, and subscribe if you haven't already. It's all free and helps me out massively. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna go finish this.